Now, rear wing. This one doesn't look as bad as the other side, and unfortunately it doesn't translate to film, but there you go, caught a couple. The ripples that I have down here are actually paint runs, and the paint runs normally come from people touching it with a can of paint. Although I can't remember exactly where it is, but even Clark Dawson, who many of you know for his great work, he always managed to get a run. I can't remember exactly where he said it was, but even after the amount of cars that he's painted, and he is a fantastic bodywork paint guy, always got a run somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was down here. Might get Clark to chime in and cover that one. But on the surface, this doesn't look too bad. And as I mentioned, you can actually buy a section from here all the way down, which lets you in to either change your sill properly or just repair this rot at the bottom. But the rot we have here not 100% sure. Usually the lines on the outer bit of this arch are really sharp. They don't seem to be on this car, but I don't see any big lumps of filler, surprisingly. There we go. Knew it had to be hiding somewhere. Now, you might have had a look at this paint to begin with and thought it was actually okay, but the further down we go on this reasonably looking back end, just as well I am actually replacing it. Here we have, there you go. Now don't get me wrong, this stuff has its place. Doesn't cover holes and rust, and you can see how thick it is. I am going to be replacing all this in a minute. But these are notorious. Should I be able to detach this with my hand? I don't think so. So I'm going to see if I can. Oh, absolutely fantastic! That's what we want. Oh hey! Now I've absolutely. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting to why the filler was so far up. Absolutely unbelievable. I think that was this part. So there we go. There's what that was hiding. And when you look at that from the outside, nice shiny paint. So there's another word of warning. Nice shiny paint. Don't trust it. If someone says they've restored it, well, you want to see the picture. Because if they ain't got stuff like this to show you what's been bad and what's been repaired, fair to say the restoration is not up to much for me. Now, these back corners are actually available on their own. You can actually buy a full section down here, all the way around to the back at the back transom panel, and the fit is absolutely fantastic. So it's perfectly possible to replace this whole section, but you will normally find, and Right, look at the back that some inner damage is also present. As is, wait for it, my favourite section in the world to repair. Backlights. Again, shiny paint covers it. These are that's your seam between the inner and the outer that I've just hacked a hole into. Again, all sorts of stuff gets trapped in here. If it's not been wax oiled from the factory, chances are that there'll be rot sitting in here. But what we can see quite clearly is the changing colour. You can see the original roots foam grey stroke white here, and what looks as though it's been actually painted by probably a later roots colour like polar white instead, but the finish on this car should be more a grey actually than a white. And as you look to see how they've done it at the side, they've not made a particularly good job of it either. So could have been a rattle can job or just compressor in the back garden. This is actually remnants of some tape that I had on, but again, not too bad. Now, this is a fair bit of work. Can't buy these on their own, unfortunately. So these would need to be all made manually. And again, if you go and look at, which car was it? Was it the red one, the green one, the maroon one? I think it was the green one. I think it was JDL again. I had to make these sections, or half sections. And what I found was that the oil filter socket from a Mercedes E-Class is actually just about the perfect shape for this. So if you actually take it upside down in the vise, lay your metal on top, heat and gently tap the edges round about, you can actually make a fantastic replica for this. Sits in very, very nicely, welds in, just a smearing of filler, fantastic job. Details of that I'm sure are in one of the build threads in helmetimp.org. Now, you can't buy this section, you can buy this section. You can buy a full arch section which goes all the way around here, down to here, and you can buy this section here. Now those three sections overall, you're probably talking the best part of £300. Doesn't sound like a lot of money. It isn't a lot of money. However, you then have to butt weld down around here, cut a panel which is actually curved this way and that way, all the way around here. Be very, very careful not to distort it. And again, we have another panel that has a very, very gentle curve and a bigger curve up and down. Then you have to join it here. Then you have to get the white stuff. Then you have to cover it with the white stuff. Now, what is available, and to my mind it is the best value panel that you can get for your amp, is actually the rear wing. Now, I'll just pull this into shot. This is more or less full side of the car up until the second swage line, so up to here, down, whole car. This would where you'd be cutting it normally. This would be where the arch section is. This would be where the lower section is. This already has the fold for the return at the B-pillar, which is here. So out with the spot welds, in with some Clecos till it's positioned, and then that could be plug welded. It finishes all the way off underneath to your floor. The arch section is in place, full back section all the way to there. It includes the light sections, which you don't get as part of any other repair panels. And of course, it also has the return inside the engine bay, as well as these route outs where you have the fixing holes for the rear transom panel. So as panels go, this is complete. There is a few things missing. There's usually a bit of deadening in the factory panel here, which you will need to replace. But overall, this whole panel, your light sections at the back, and your arch, sills, everything else, to me represents probably the best value panel that you can actually buy to repair the back of your amp. Quite a bit of plugging from where they come from. So to remove this panel, spot welds here. This is only seam sealed. Floor, arch, and as I had mentioned, my favourite method of removal for these, which you will see later when it comes off, is I will actually take this lip at the very corner and I'll take a flap disc to it. The flap disc shears through the edge very, very easily. Yeah, enough said now, I'm going to take that one off. And as we come round into here, once again we're spot welded down here, which when it comes off allows you to get to the inner skin and replace any rot in there. That you will see on my maroon chamois DDG 220C on helmetamp.org. You'll see this section at the back completely naked, and I literally had to cut away. Almost the lights were gone and had to make that section on the inside. You'll see it later on how it's built up, but if you want to see it missing and rebuilt, there's that there. But to fit this panel, your only main cut is one straight line all the way along. Now there's a few ways you can go about that. Workshop technique, entirely up to the individual. You'll see a little bit on how I do it later. But certainly you want to try and keep as much of this curve as you can to match up with the curve on the panel. They will need a little bit of fettling, not a lot, but once it's on, and especially if you can get your inner arch repaired to give you a datum to work from, these panels go on absolutely lovely. The biggest benefit is they only need a skim. You don't have to be grinding off welds here. You don't have to be grinding off welds here where it's weak, and most of the distortion that historically I've seen on panels being replaced is actually on grinding back of the welds. It's not actually in the welding itself. Everybody focuses on, you know, let's take care, let's cool the panel down, let's get a bit of an air hose, let's put some putty behind it, and they'll take a fantastic amount of time going round about, but yet the welds will still be protruding forward. Flap discs, when it comes to actually generating heat, putting them in the panel, they're very uneven. I've seen some fantastic fabrication jobs putting in sections, absolutely lovely, right down to the point where they've got to grind back the metal before applying filler, and at that point it all goes wrong, and you look at it and the only thing you can do after that is start spot welding bits of wire on it, pulling the panel back out to get it as thin as you can, and then you're back to the white stuff. And in this case, we've defeated the purpose of actually fitting the whole panel, where we don't want to use the white stuff. You will need a skim. The panel, although it's new, it won't be perfect. There will be dents in that. We won't see that until it's coated. So that's the back wing.